Hi, I'm Jane from Jane Rowland Photography, and this video is a bit different from previous videos because it's not really about photography. There's a vague photography link, but it's mainly about starting a YouTube channel, especially if you're a little bit older. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my journey and why I've ended up at the age of 52 starting a YouTube channel, but it's also how in a short space of time I have learned quite a lot, and I would like to share 5 things that I have learnt that might benefit you if you are even thinking of starting your own channel, but there's lots of reasons not to do it. For example, I'm too old, people will laugh at me, I'm going to get trolled, someone's already done what I want to do, or I don't know how to edit. They were all things that were reasons for me not to do it, and I've overcome every one of those. So if that sounds like something that would be of benefit to you, then keep watching. If you don't want to hear the lengthy introduction about me and why I've ended up doing this YouTube channel, then there's a timestamp below and you can skip straight to the 5 things that I have learnt that might give you the push that you need to have a go at starting your own YouTube video. So I am Jane from Jane Rowland Photography, but I'm actually, in my day job, I am a secondary school teacher. I'm a head of department in a very large comprehensive school. And a couple of years ago, when I was heading towards 50, I had a bit of well, you could call it an epiphany, you could call it a midlife crisis, and I decided I needed something more in my life. I think there's nothing quite like heading towards your 50th birthday to really focus your mind and, without being morbid, confronted with your own mortality. You know, you're not young anymore, you've lived probably most of your life, and it was a time to take stock in terms of where I was in my life and what I was going to be doing for the next 20 years. So I've been a full-time teacher right from doing my PGCE 30 years ago, and I've been a head of department for 20 years, and I am going to be doing the same job full-time for the next 10, possibly 15 years till I'm in my 60s. And that was quite a sobering thought, quite a daunting thought, because the job is not an easy job, and it hasn't got easier actually in the 30 years I've been doing it. It's actually got harder and it's quite stressful. Now, I'm not talking about teaching as if it's the most stressful job. There are many stressful jobs out there, I understand, but teaching is the only thing that I know. And even though, you know, it gives me a lot of satisfaction and I enjoy what I do, I felt that I needed something to give me a creative outlet, to kind of balance, have a work-life balance really, to help me stop me getting burnt out, stop me getting stressed, and to help me do a good job in my day job, but also have you know, something that I could enjoy doing out of school. What I've always enjoyed doing as long as I've been teaching, actually, over 30 years, is I've been passionate about photography, particularly about portrait photography. And so I had the idea that I would start a photography business, and I wanted it to be up and running by the time I was 50. So I had 2 years to get going, and that was my big plan. It was to be a very long-term, very slow burner, something that would run alongside my day job, and so I could teach full-time but also have a very small part-time photography business that I could build up over a period of 10 years, and maybe if I got to 60 I could go to part-time teaching and also half part-time photography business as well, and that was my plan. But I was very naive, and in the best Kevin Costner fashion, I thought, build it and they will come. And I thought, you know, I've made my website, it looks pretty presentable and people are going to find it and I'm going to get bookings. No, that's really not how it works, as I now know. No one knows your website is there, no one cares, and for anyone to ever get to know who you are, you have got to promote the business. So this year I thought that I would really get to grips with content marketing and promoting the business. So I bought all these content marketing books, but every single book said, you have to have a YouTube channel. You have to have a YouTube channel to promote your business. And I was really not interested in having a YouTube channel. In fact, I skipped over those chapters. I didn't bother reading them because I was so not interested. You know, I had a Facebook business page, I had an Instagram page, I had a Twitter page. I really was not interested in spending the time to do that. On the other hand, what I was interested in doing was the creative process of editing a video. I know when I do a portrait shoot, my favourite part of the whole process is editing the images. I love it. And I had a feeling that I would possibly like to edit a video as well, even though I didn't know how to do that. And so my motivation to creating a YouTube channel wasn't actually being a YouTuber in itself. It was because I wanted to learn how to edit. So in the short time I've been doing this, I have learned an awful lot. And I thought it would be useful to share the things I've learnt with you in case you're thinking of doing a YouTube video and you need a bit of a push to get started, you're not really quite sure whether to do it or not. These are the things that I have learnt. So the first one, and this is my only bit of advice really, and this is to get over yourself. And by that I mean, when I first saw myself on screen, I was mortified because you don't see yourself very often in the way that other people see you and hear you, and so it's a bit of a shock, however old you are, to see and hear yourself in a way that you don't normally do. And so I had to go through quite a process because it wasn't just about seeing and hearing myself, it was actually confronting the fact that I looked really old. I haven't really, really looked at myself for any length of time. I put makeup on in the morning, but it's a very cursory, quick process, and I don't really, linger on it. But when you're editing a video of yourself, you have no choice but to look at your own face for hours on end. You have to confront the fact that, you look your age. I look my age, basically. I had to come to terms with the fact that I look old, and basically that getting old is a universal experience. Everybody is going to get old at some point. Even these fresh-faced young YouTubers in 20, 30 years time, they're going to, have lines on their face, and are they going to let that stop them doing what they want to do? I don't think it will, and it shouldn't stop me either. So the second point I would make is that older people know stuff. Now, I am not saying younger people don't know stuff. Younger people know a huge amount of stuff. I have learned so much off YouTube over the years to do with Photoshop or video editing, YouTube, anything I've wanted to know about, there has been a YouTube video. It's a massive educational tool, and a lot of that is delivered by people who are much, much younger than I am. But if young people know that much information, how much more wisdom and knowledge does someone who is 20, 30 years older know? And that is like a massive untapped resource that could be put out there on YouTube. It can be shared for the benefit of us all. And I'll give you 3 examples of people I know. One is someone who is an amazing cake maker. She does the type of cakes, on the Bake Off Extra Slice. She does the ones that are really good, not the ones that get laughed at. She does these amazing cakes, and you look at them and you think, how on earth did you do that? That is a work of art. And she's got personality as well. That's a YouTube channel waiting to happen, and a lot of people could benefit from, her sharing the skills that she knows. I've got another couple. They are a married couple. One is quite a grumpy Yorkshire man, and another is a very flamboyant extrovert American, and they have bought the most enormous church and they are renovating it. And the combination of those personalities alongside all the practical DIY knowledge that they've got would make a great YouTube channel as well. And the third person I can think of, who shall be known as Craney Bear, is a really brilliant night sky photographer, and it's such a niche subject that's again perfect for a YouTube channel. This is one of his images. He's allowed me to share it, and I've been into photography for decades and I have no idea how he took this picture. He's very, very knowledgeable, and I think that a lot of people interested in that kind of photography would benefit from him sharing that knowledge. And I've had this conversation with him, and he said, well, people have already done it, you know. And I'm thinking, but you haven't done it, and you haven't done it with your unique point of view and your unique voice. So you know, I think there is room for people to share their knowledge, even if it's been done before by someone else, because it's still going to be different, and there's still going to be content that's going to be, you know, that's going to resonate with people, even if it has been done by somebody else. The third point I would make is that as an older person, our motivation for doing something on YouTube is very different from a younger person. Again, I'm trying not to generalise, but as a teacher, I know young people who want to be a YouTuber as a career. They want to be an influencer. Now, as an older person, we didn't grow up with YouTube. We didn't grow up with the option of being a YouTuber. So it's kind of an alien concept to us. And I think that a younger person might have slightly unrealistic expectations. They see these very famous YouTubers on television, they've got fame and fortune, but, you know, they don't really see the time and effort it's taken to get there. PewDiePie, for example, who is the #1 YouTuber in the world, he was doing this for 10 years and he put out 100 videos and hardly had any subscribers during that period. And so a lot of people see the end result, but they don't really see how difficult it is to get there, and they think that, you know, by talking about themselves and sharing their lives, people are going to be interested. But the reality is you need to be sharing content that's valuable, either, you know, entertaining content or educational content that people are going to want to watch and listen to. And as an older person, YouTube isn't really the reason why. It's kind of an offshoot of something we're already interested in. For example, you often have a passion for something, then you share it on YouTube. I think your definition of success as an older person is slightly different. This is successful if it is a creative outlet for me, which it is. It's also successful if it takes my mind away from the stresses of teaching, which it does. So for me, those aims have already been achieved. My fourth point is that you have to find your tribe. And by that I mean, there are lots of older people now who are watching YouTube videos, and most of those are delivered by people who are much younger than they are, and that's absolutely fine. You know, if you want to learn a skill, it doesn't matter who's delivering that, whether it is a 20-year-old or a 60-year-old, as long as it tells you how to do something. But there are some videos, for example, like makeup tutorials, which I know my stepdaughter loves watching, and they tend to be delivered by people maybe in the 20s, and however brilliant they are, however talented they are, if you're in your 50s, that's kind of hard to relate to, because they're in a different stage of their life and their skin's very different. And for me, I would be much more motivated to watch those videos if they were delivered by someone who was a similar age to me, because I can relate to that. And that's why, as an older YouTuber, I think it's great to put content out there which will resonate with older viewers, because there are a lot of them around. And the fifth point I would make is do not go gentle. This is a poem by Dylan Thomas, and it really resonates with me since I turned 50. Do not go gentle into that good night, rage, rage against the dying of the light. By that I mean, I could very easily sink into old age. By nature, I am extremely lazy. I could literally live on the sofa, eating Jaffa cakes, watching box sets on Netflix. That is part of my character. I have to fight against. And over the years, you know, I have, because I'm drawn to laziness, because I'm drawn to unhealthy food, I have put on weight on. And this year I've really fought against that, and I've really taken myself in hand, and I have lost 20 pounds in weight. I've lost 1.5 stone. I've gone on an exercise regime. I've toned up, and it's not about vanity actually anymore. It's about health, and it's about being able to move freely and pick something up off the floor and bend down when I'm 70. You know, it's the whole focus of diet and exercise has changed at my age, and I think the same goes for your brain as well. The same goes for having a creative outlet and challenging yourself, because I don't want to ever get to the point where I stop learning new things, because although part of my character is drawn to being very lazy, there is another part of my character that always wants to put myself slightly outside my comfort zone and do something new, do something that makes me feel slightly uncomfortable, because I think trying those new things actually is what keeps you young mentally. So I hope that I've given you something to think about, and if you weren't quite sure whether to give it a go or not, I hope I've given you some reasons why you should just go for it. You don't ever have to upload it if it goes wrong, just, you know, have a bit of play and let me know how you get on. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.